Indeed, the recall of President Zuma left some bitter taste amongst many people, and not only people of KwaZulu-Natal, but people all over the country. But as leadership, as members of the ANC, we have risen above and we have accepted that that particular decision was indeed a decision within the purview of the NEC, and the NEC in its collective wisdom decided that President Zuma should be recalled. We understand that not all decisions in the movement will be in our favor and will find comfort within our hearts, but we are revolutionaries. We know that certain decisions will go either way as long as they take the country, and the ANC forward. So while there was a song that went in Uzuma, but it was never meant to demonstrate that President Zuma has something to do. It's a song that people sing even when we're not in conferences, because it's a question that remains unanswered. It has been almost 13 years now when people have been saying President Zuma, former President Zuma is guilty, when actually no court of law has actually pronounced on that. Having said that, we also want to join the ANC coordinator, Comrade Zigalala, in profusely apologizing to the national chairperson of the ANC, the leadership of the ANC, as well as the membership at large, for the disruption of the national chairperson. That behavior, we condemn it in strongest terms possible, and we think that we need to do more as leadership to ensure that it doesn't occur again to anybody in the ANC.
Let me give you an opportunity, Professor Hanyari, on your take on the talks that the former President Zuma might just be under these unsettled state of the KZN ANC.
Yeah. Look, Ananda, the former president doesn't have to do anything. But what concerns everyone else, especially some of us outside of the province and analyzing the situation from a distance, is that those who support him or seem to support him are the ones who are doing something. So whether this is in a form of booing the national chairperson, Mr. Gwede Mantashe, or being part of the lauded voice that suggests that there could be a breakaway, yes, some of these things are assumptions. But for some reason, there is a smoke coming somewhere which seems to suggest that there is a fire in the kitchen. And these questions must be asked based on available evidence that strongly suggests that factionalism in KZN has taken this turn. The issue of Zuma's popularity in KZN can somehow be questioned in the background that his own village in Nkandla, interestingly enough, is now today under the control of Inkatha. So which then suggests that his popularity is not based on any form of majoritarian basis. Yes, he commands support, but the question is that support doing something, calling for something? And I think in this instance, time will tell as to whether all these assumptions hold water or not. But Zuma is indeed a factor in the politics of KZN.
And now we're hearing that those that approached the court to make sure that this conference doesn't happen will be facing disciplinary action. And there's also talks that they're actually currently living in fear for their lives. Can you take us, Mr. Mshengu? What's your take? No, please continue, Professor. Continue.
Yeah, look, what is said is that the ethics regime within the governing party, one can refer to the ethics committee, has not for quite some time been consistent on the issue of meting out sanctions for ill discipline or for having violated the constitution of the ANC. I suspect that this lot, this group, may have a leg to stand on and claim that, look, the ANC doesn't have and has not demonstrated consistently the muscle to discipline and make sure that some measure of restraint within the ANC is there. One can quote the issue of the Free State recently, where members of the ANC went to court to make an attempt several times to hold conferences there. So I think the Thule House must trade here very firmly and make sure that members actually toe the line in order to promote discipline within its ranks.
Mr. Mshengu, is the disciplinary action the way to go in your view?
Yeah, let me start with the issue raised by the analyst there that people who are seen to be loyal to President Zuma are the ones who are doing things, booing and so forth. Let me just say, people who are seen to be loyal to President Zuma have actually been the very same people who have been reaching out, who have been working extremely hard to stabilize and unite the province. The applicants, the 6 applicants who interdicted the ANC conference, in terms of the politics, they are not seen as people who are loyal to Zuma. So it may be quite unfair to basically paint the people who are seen to be loyal to Zuma as the ones who are causing disruptions in the province. But in terms of the last question that we have raised, yes, we think the ANC now needs to be decisive. Part of the problems that are recurring are as a result of indecisiveness of the ANC leadership. There comes a time where a line must be drawn. In the conference, we said no member must take the ANC to court without first exhausting internal processes of the ANC. And in our view, the applicants have not actually exhausted the internal processes of the ANC. But equally, the ANC is a revolutionary organization. It can't be run through courts. And the conduct to take the ANC to court now and then on the basis that we are not satisfied about internal processes actually borders on counter-revolution, and it must be characterized as such. So we think the ANC must act firmly in terms of dealing with the applicants so that it doesn't recur in future.
Now, one last question, gentlemen, before I let you go. Everything that happens in the political sphere now obviously is looked at on the effect it will have at the polls in slightly less than a year. Let me start with you, Professor Hanyani. How will this translate at the polls?
Well, look, my take is you will have to deal with developments that are yet to be experienced, which otherwise may begin to challenge what the electorate has now in terms of memory and in terms of relevance with regards to individual, if not collective experiences of members of the electorate. I'm hoping that the electorate would, in a sense, reflect on this and make their own judgment. So it's anybody's call. And let us not forget that our electorate comes from different backgrounds. You have rural votes, you have urban votes, and already urban votes in the 2016 local government elections have given us an indicator that the middle class in this country are somewhat impatient, are somewhat not happy in the way in which politics, especially within the governing party, is actually run. So we will have to wait and see what the future holds before the elections, and of course the possibility of coalition governments in some provinces are speculated to be the way to go in running politics in certain provinces.
All right, Mr. Mshengu, your views on the political polls, on the polls next year in the face of this instability in that province, the stronghold of the ANC, no doubt.
Well, we have admitted ourselves that time is not on our side. That is why it was important that we begin a new chapter in the life of the ANC in the province. Going to the polls, it is quite important that you have an elected, legitimate structure that will command authority. It has been our view, and it continues to be our view, that it will be very much difficult to go to the elections with a task team, because it doesn't command the legitimacy and the authority that will be commanded by an elected structure. That is why, in our view, we're saying, in spite of the setback we suffered over the weekend, we are hoping that the national leadership will also allow us again to convene the conference speedily. Having said that, we are revolutionaries. We are going to hit the ground running and try to cover the time lost. But indeed, it will take a lot of us. It will take resilience. It will take unity in the movement, because all that has happened also has contributed in damaging the public standing and image of the ANC in terms of the public view. So those are the things that moving to the elections will have to deal with. And indeed, the time is running out, but we are confident that we'll pull all stock to ensure that we deliver a decisive victory for the ANC.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your input in this discussion. That was KZN ANC KZN ANC Youth League chairperson, Kwasim Shengu, as well as our political analyst, Barry Hanyari, talking to us following the cancellation of the ANC KZN conference. Now we're understanding that the ANC, NEC, along with KZN party interim leaders in a meeting at Literary House will have to wait to hear the outcome of that meeting.